Hello and welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, as always, on the launch pad and with a liftoff. Almost tradition already. Anyways, welcome back to Kerbal Space Program, spaceship here. Today, as I mentioned in the previous sandbox styled mission, I will do something EVE related, as you probably can tell from the title, and probably the whole reason why you clicked on this video. Except you're kind of crazy and are interested in building space stations. Well, which are pretty much useless in this game, except well, I don't know. Anyways, I think I should focus on the footage on the screen. Unclaimed booster separation, though no damage from those 4 lovely SRBs that were pretty useless, but in the end, well, they weren't really necessary, since you can see there are 5 vector engines in the central core and 2 mammoth engines on each side of the central core. So in total a triple core like the Falcon Heavy, though definitely not similar to the Falcon Heavy in no ways, since no reusability and nowhere near 27 engines. Anyways, we are now in a suborbital trajectory, closing into separation. Beautiful separation there, taking a nice screenshot there. Now further with the orbital insertion, which will be cut out partially, because I'm sure you've seen multiple orbital insertions and everything. Anyway, so I decided to skip right ahead to this wiggling transfer burn to EVE, of course. So you just missed me. I'm setting up maneuver notes for EVE, and of course this lovely interstage blowing up because I didn't stage properly. First ignition of the engine, then staging. This makes no sense, so always check your staging. There should also be, I think there is in the toolbar, like in the vehicle assembler building, a pop-up message, check your staging, or something along those lines. Anyways, now we're leaving Kerbin with this beautiful screenshot flying off into the distance with a big space station. It kind of looks massive, even though it's not extremely heavy. It's definitely not light. Anyways, in interplanetary space we had one small time warp stop where I corrected the trajectory, so we have a beautiful encounter with EVE on a almost perfectly horizontal plane, not quite but pretty much, and taking beautiful shots in here whilst closing in. And now we're going to do our circularization burn, because the space station has to orbit body which it orbits, of course, so we have to slow down. But of course I cut everything out, since burning is kind of boring and not the main point of this video. The main point of this video is me talking about this game and you watching how someone made a single launch space station to EVE. Speaking of single launch space station, I think sending just one cylindrical space station is kind of boring, and I've done this even if I think back. If you can remember, Space Dock 1 was also kind of boring-ish. Anyways, now you can see we have the multiple docking ports where you can separate those different segments from each other, and the central one and the one on the left, on the right, sorry, my bad, on the right, and the one on the right has 3 different parts. One of them we will not say docking because of a small complication in the recording, though I'm sure this was will not be too big of a difference, because it was the easiest of all those things to dock. Anyways, starting now to move out this central piece, which will be docked second after the other one. You'll see it anyway. So one small remark here, you can see on the top and the bottom different kinds of different items. So on the bottom we can see the telescope, which is more or less useless in this, in orbit around EVE, so yeah. And on the other side we have a small ion lander, which can be used and piloted by a brave Kerbal who wants to explore, for example, the small and tiny moon of EVE, which I've never visited, so I guess this is also an activity I might try once in a while. And yes, so what I want to say about this construction, or this it's not quite a core stage, though it has 4 sites at the moment which are still free. One of them will be docked, of course, to the space station, And the other thing I'd like to note is that I was too stupid to balance this thing out, so docking this was a pain in the ass, and it took me almost half an hour to dock this thing, because all the time I pressed one's lateral thrust, it slightly jiggled around and wasn't quite centered, and thus it took me quite a while to get used to it, and so on and so forth. But I think that's not very important, as you can see right now in fast 3 times speed or 4 times speed, how I finally docked it the last few seconds. And of course you can see that there was already this elongated first part which was docked of course first, otherwise it wouldn't work out this way. And like I said, I kind of didn't include this into the footage, it was the easiest one, but still kind of not too important, I guess. And I'm quite sure that you get what I'm trying to show off here. Anyways, we have 2 beautiful solar arrays, big solar arrays with, well, just 1 solar panel, big solar panel, and 2 big extendable XL solar arrays on the sides. Now let's take the second one of those things, which has also a sensor on the side. Well, those rotating sensors which look quite nice when deployed. Docking onto the other side of this construction, which is slightly darker because the sun isn't shining onto our surface, but still not an issue to dock after all this practice I had with this terrible thing jiggling around. Yes, so single launch space stations are kind of a fun thing to do, but they're, as I said earlier, not really, they don't serve any purpose. And now to a beautiful UI free look around the station, of course activating the lighting with our U key, I guess was it. And now just opening up the last communitron, which is on the crew cabin where we have a cable in, and opening an inline docking port, so if there is a ship which wants to dock on this side, don't know why, but you can still dock there. And of course further down the row and on the other side of this construction thingy should be also a docking port, but it is a little bit hidden behind this big relay dish. And now we have again Eve on with, well, the daylight side of Eve, taking a beautiful snapshot, which you can see on Instagram. If you follow me, if you want to follow me, just search spaceship and then UT for YouTube, and that's it. And now taking out well for a final, well, look around the station, big solar arrays, turning dishes. I kind of like this animation on this dish, on those 2 dishes, like, even though they're pretty much pointless at this altitude, though we're not going to mine Eve at all, so just some aesthetics, you know, having aesthetics is always a good thing. Yeah, anyways, taking another snapshot as always, and I think this is the mission where I made the most pictures of, so far at least. Anyways, I hope you have enjoyed my video. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, Spaceship out.